What's up, everybody, and welcome in to another edition of Big Men on Basketball. It is Tuesday, December 13th, 2022. I hope you're all having a great day wherever you are. We are here live on the Barstool Sportsbook YouTube channel, Twitter account. We're on the Barstool Sports Twitter account, all sorts of places. Facebook, if you're watching, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. I appreciate you being here. Another very interesting day in college basketball. Let's get into it. But let's talk a little bit about last night. Look, guys, I'm here every night, okay, whether I win or lose. And I didn't do well last night. I said on the show yesterday, we were backing a lot of good teams against a lot of bad teams. And, unfortunately, we just got very little effort from these teams. Texas looked like they were supremely affected by not having Chris Beard. But then again, maybe this is just something that is going to bother this team. Unfortunately, you look at how they played on Saturday. I didn't think they played very good either. But that's the name of the game. Syracuse, you look at on paper, Monmouth was going to struggle to score in that game. They didn't. They had 40 points at the half. And this is just kind of how things go sometimes. You get those nights where nothing goes right. Gonzaga playing a team that they should score 50 in the first half against, struggled to get to 40. Just chronic things, guys, that, unfortunately, those things happen. I can do all the research in the world. I can have all the analytics, all the trends, all the schematics, what I know about college basketball. But in the end, that does not translate to winning games. I didn't have a good night. This is how it goes sometimes. But we'll look to get back on the horse tonight. There are some interesting spots. And if you followed this show and have been a fan of this show, you know that there's probably places that I'm going to look, kind of old faithfuls, if you will, those spots that, just are ones that I'm always going to be on. And we have, again, some very interesting games of teams that are very good against some teams that are not very good. You also have to recognize, guys, what do we know that we're dealing with? We're coming to the end of non-conference play. Okay, once we delve through the last 2 weeks here, as we get into Christmas, once we get out of Christmas, we will be in conference play. And I've always said, I think that's a much easier way of betting college basketball. You have a lot more information. You just have those situations that make a lot of sense as a gambler, and ones that I think you can very much exploit. So we'll get into all that and more here on a Tuesday. Many more games than we had last night. Still, though, not an incredibly deep card, but I have several interesting games I want to talk about. I want to take some of your questions as well. And I also want to start off the show with remembering Mike Leach. This is something that happened very suddenly. Most of the people that watch this show, we're all kind of in the same age group. I know occasionally we get people in their 40s or 50s, but most of us are in our 20s or early to mid 30s. And Mike Leach has been really a transcendent name in college football. And I heard Brandon Walker say this today, and he's totally right. You look at the current NFL, some of the college football that we love and enjoy. Mike Leach has been an innovator. He has really transformed that air raid offense, that throw the football 75% of the time, the games where we enjoy betting, the games over the years. Mike Leach really transcended that, right? He started it at Texas Tech, with the Michael Crabtrees and the Graham Harrells. And then, he goes to Washington State, has quarterbacks like Luke Falk, just terrific quarterbacks over the years. Goes down to Mississippi State, had some success down in the SEC, really took an offense that really had not been seen in the SEC, right? Just a really transcendent guy. But it wasn't just on the football field. In a world now where coaches give you the bare minimum, as I said earlier, the bare bones, Mike Leach was always there to give you something good, right? You very rarely see that in pro and college sports. That coach that's willing to give you something more. You maybe comment on being married or having coffee or what Christmas candy he likes or what Halloween candy he likes. There's always something gregarious about Mike Leach, right? There was sort of something eccentric, but he's one of those people that I think, and we've all come across these people. I've been told myself that I have these qualities that, I feel like I'm a person that can talk about a lot of things, right? Whether it's basketball or food or the mafia or some sort of scientific thing. I feel like I'm someone that enjoys to read. And yeah, I've always looked at Mike Leach as someone that I was really interested in just because he has such a wide knowledge base, right? He knows about so many different things. And when he goes off on a tangent, it's like, oh, damn, this crazy guy's going off on a tangent. It's like, well, no, I actually want to hear what he has to say, right? I want to hear what he's going to tell me because I'm going to probably learn something from Mike Leach. As someone that really enjoys learning, I love to read and I love to educate myself. Mike Leach always seemed to bring you something that you could say, wow. And it was practical things too. It was about as a young man, not rushing to get married or, we remember that, press conference or not press conference, but the locker room speech, at Texas Tech. There was some things that, Mike Leach, he had no problem saying. He was very outspoken. Just, big loss, a coach that definitely, as I said, was very gregarious and someone that, you always kind of had a smile on your face when Mike would speak, whether it be during college football, in the summer, before college football. Just a really interesting individual and someone that I think the college football world is going to miss. He was, someone that always provided you with some sort of levity in a situation. He was a young guy, man. Only I believe he was only in his 60s, 61 years old. This is, I think, incredibly tough for someone like myself. I've talked about it. I have a family member that is very close to me that's not far off from this age. And it really makes you think, guys, we're all young. Our parents are getting older, and it seems like yesterday my parents were young, and now they're, close to 60, into their 60s. It just kind of shows that things can happen so quickly. So may Mike Leach rest in peace, a true college football man, and a very innovative individual. So may he rest in peace. Let's say hello to a couple of folks in here today. Argentina is going to win it all. Yes, they are rolling today. Looks like an easy victory, and I think the game is over. Start with your lock of the night, or you could just listen and go through everything. James Valentine, what's happening, my man? How you doing? Trace Turner, what's up? Jack O'Connor says, I'm hurting. Well, I don't know what to tell you, bro. You're going to have winning nights. You're going to have losing nights. I don't get too mixed up in it. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. It's going to happen. Guys, again, if you're expecting to bet and you're going to win every night, good luck. I haven't had a good college basketball season as far as non-conference. It's not been good at all for me. I've lost money. It's going to happen. Hopefully you make some tweaks. You get back in conference play and you kill it, right? Again, I've done this a long time. And if you've done it a long time, you know this. If you're going to sit here and expect to win every night, I hate to tell you, you probably want to, go take on another hobby or another interest because this is not a foolproof system. It is not something you're going to come in on. And, I know some of you folks see these big parlays that are hit at the Barstool Sports and you think, wow, that's going to be me. Again, I always remember when I was young, I had a brief job at a bodega type of place. And I remember I'd see these people come in all the time. And they tell me how great it was that they won $100 on lottery. And I was thinking to myself, how much money did you spend to get that 100? And you'd see these same people every day. And it's likely that they spent much more than $100 to win the 100. But I know those kind of parlays look good, guys. And you expect you're going to be this big winning gambler. It's not easy, man. This is not an easy business. So you have to be relative in realizing that. All right. Cade Brown says, I've already bet Houston first half. All right. Well, we'll take a look at that game, I'm sure. Burt Reynolds, what's up? Jonesy, how you doing? Dylan Pruss, what's up? Chuck. Marshall line seems sketchy. Yeah, I'm not a big trustworthy guy of Marshall. Not a team that I'm running to bet. They weren't really much on my radar tonight. Casey K, what's up? Am I heading to Atlantic City anytime soon? I would think at some point I'll be there, but I don't get down there as much as I used to. When I was a kid, when I was younger, we had a home in New Jersey. I think long term, that's somewhere I want to live. If it's not here or maybe somewhere else. But I think in my later years, that's where I want to be, down on the Jersey Shore. Amen to that, Jonesy. Amen to that. All right, guys, let's get into today's show. I want to talk about some gambling here. Someone says Nader's the worst gambler in Barstool Sports history. Well, hey, thanks for watching, though. Either way, you're here every day, and we got to give you some credence for being here. I always say hate views get the same views, so it's okay. Not too worried about it. Thank you for joining me, though. I appreciate it. I'm a Mississippi State fan. I need a night to lift my spirits. Well, hey, let's try to see if we can't get one. All right, let's start it out. I want to start with a pretty interesting game, non-conference game here. Iona and Princeton. Iona currently laying 6.5 points. Total is 146.5. I do want to let you guys know another weird situation here. This game is being played at Keene College. Kind of a weird situation. Not sure why this game is at Keene College. For anyone that's not aware, Keene College is in New Jersey. It is kind of in the middle of Princeton and Iona. Not an incredibly long trip for either team, but again, not a home game. Not that kind of really that matters that much, but it is a neutral site game. I guess I have some question marks about Princeton, because one thing I know about Princeton over the years is they've obviously had that great Princeton offense. That's been around for years, but they don't really have a point guard. Okay. And that's something that I've noticed about this group out of the Ivy League this year. Jalen Llewellyn left. He goes to Michigan, and they really haven't been able to replace him. They've kind of had this kind of point guard by committee type of thing, which, the goal of Princeton is they want to get the ball into the half court, and they want Tucson to kind of do what he does. Toussaint's this big kid they have. He's really good in the perimeter. He's involved in a lot of ball screens and motion and movement, and he kind of runs the show for them, right? I think he's a guy that's going to play at the next level, a guy that can kind of do it all there. But they don't really have a point guard, which is a bit concerning, right? Because for me, when I look at Rick Pitino and I look at what Iona wants to do, they very much want to pressure the basketball. And I think Princeton's had a lot of success kind of beating up on a lot of bad basketball teams, right? You look at their 8-2. They started out the season 0-2. They've reeled off 8 in a row. But all those games have come against teams that are in, kind of the bottom half of college basketball. They're beating up on a bad schedule. And I look at some of their step-up games. Played Hofstra, really struggled defensively in that game, and really kind of struggled to get stops and to do anything at a high level. They scored offensively at a high level, but a lot of teams do that against Hofstra. This is Iona team that's really, I think, kind of opened some eyes. I know for me, they opened some eyes last week against St. Louis. I thought that was a great performance. Had a really nice game over the weekend against an upstart Bonaventure group. This is a team that's beaten always a good Vermont team. This is a very quality basketball team. You look at some of the things that jump out for St. Louis against St. Louis. The fact that they were able to force turnovers. As I said, remember, this is a Princeton team that struggles handling the basketball, right? They don't necessarily have a point guard. Now, I think if they can get through the press here, I think they probably have some success, because I don't think there's anyone on Iona that can stop Toussaint in this game. He's a great player. He's a guy that can, as I said, do it all. And he is someone that is very well utilized by this team. They really put him in great spots. He's a very tough cover. He's a senior, 6'8", 6'9", can rebound at a high level, takes a lot of their shots, is involved with a lot of their possessions. So it's really going to be all about the press. So I think this game is probably a good one to maybe check out for a couple of minutes, see how they deal with the press. If they can deal with the press, I think not only is this probably a game that's played into the mid to high 70s, but I think it's probably a game that Princeton can hang around and score effectively in. So I feel like, for me, if I feel like Princeton's offense can get through kind of the initial ball pressure, I think the over could have some value in this one. I could see this one being kind of a similar game to what the Hofstra game was for Princeton. They have really struggled with that ball screen defense, Princeton. So I think that's kind of an interesting way to look at this one. I know I'll be having this game on my watch app. I'll be looking at this one, and I'll kind of see where we are at maybe the 12-minute timeout, or even the 16-minute timeout. I think 12-minute timeout, kind of see where they are. And if this game's kind of, let's say at the 12-minute mark, if this game is 20-15, I'm gonna probably have some look and maybe feel like this game can be maybe a game that gets into the 80s. I like to kind of involve the comments as we go here, because I don't want to kind of rehash stuff. Al Green's talking about Lowell, Rhode Island. Yeah, I'm gonna get into that one. Texas coach arrested. I talked about that yesterday. You can check out yesterday's show. He's got some major issues, Chris Beard. I think if you read some of the things from the woman involved, she has stated that she does not want criminal charges brought. But again, remember, she called the coach on the coach. So this is bad. If this stuff actually happened and Chris Beard is the person that did it, he will never coach another basketball game. It's pretty simple. What's up, Tanner? How you doing, brother? Brandon Walker summed it up best. Leach was bigger than college football. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. Crazy how time flies. Yeah, it does, man. I was just talking about that the other day. Noob says, do you use a model or anything? No, I'm not a model guy. I'm not a model guy. I respect people that are model guys, but I'm not a model guy. Julian, what's up? Pat Riverd, what's happening, brother? MS54, what's up, brother? What's up, Chris F? Everyone do your own homework. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's definitely something that I would highly recommend doing. Someone says Memphis money line tonight. Yeah, we're going to get into that. Let's get into to this game. Someone asked about this one earlier. UMass Lowell against Rhode Island. We might have thought last week UMass Lowell, maybe they just were one of those teams that's beat up on a bad schedule. And guess what? They went out and finally beat a pretty good team over the weekend in UMass. That was a big game for them. I don't think it was over the weekend. This is last Thursday. But now they get another tough game, kind of a regional game here, going into Rhode Island as a favorite. Keep in mind, guys, one of the best ATS teams in the country, UMass Lowell. How are they doing it? Well, they're really well coached under Pat Duquette. They've got a kid called Abdul Koulibaly on the block, just a rebounding machine, just a better player than a lot of players that they're playing against. This is a really disciplined team. They're playing their best basketball right now, and they're going to be really hard to beat in this conference. Put that down right now. The thing that we kind of have to deal with Rhode Island is they're kind of a team that's a bit in disarray right now. I think Archie Miller will have something there down the road. They're much better coached than they were under David Cox, who was a complete mess. But there is some reason for optimism, I think, with Rhode Island. Jalen Carey came back over the weekend. He gives you a really good scoring punch. This team has been devoid of really talent for a long time. It's been a year or two since they've had some really good talent in there. They've had a lot of kids leave. The Martin kids left. They had obviously a couple of years ago, Fats Russell. They've had some talent, but unfortunately they haven't been able to keep it or it's moved on. So I think when you kind of look at Rhode Island, you look at this number and you say, do I trust? I want Rhode Island as a dog, surely, but do I trust Lowell in this spot? Because again, they're very good as a dog. They've been a dog most of the season. But now you're asking them to A, cover as a favorite, and B, cover as a road favorite. I guess this is a question of if this was, let's say Lowell was in the A-10, would they compete? Where would they kind of grade out? I think this is correct. I think Rhode Island's not great, but I think when I look at Lowell, am I ready to lay points at them as a favorite at this point? Not real keen on it. And I know people are saying, well, it's only a point and a half. Yeah, but again, it essentially means they have to beat an A-10 team again, 2 games in a row on the road. So it's not real easy to do here. Throw in the fact that we could say what we want about Lowell, but they have some turnover problems. They have unforced issues. They make a lot of stupid mistakes. And when you're looking at some of the non-steal percentage turnovers, the boneheaded mistakes, it's not great. So, stepping up here, it's again kind of a clash in styles. Rhode Island wants to play really slow and kind of slog it out defensively. They're going to be big on the perimeter. Lowell wants to kind of speed it up and go up and down. So a really interesting chess match here. I'm going to really continue to try to check boxes. Is Lowell going unbeaten good team? Okay, they've done that. Now can they go on the road and beat a solid team that's on paper better than they probably are? You keep checking the boxes. This is really going to help a team like UMass Lowell when we get into March. Maybe they can pull an upset when if they get to the NCAA tournament. This is stuff that you keep a mental note of. And that's something for me, guys. That's why I don't really worry about win-loss. Obviously, I want to win. I obviously want to be there and have success in every sport I bet. But I just know that's not going to happen. Now, for me, I also look at this as I'm putting in the groundwork. I spend all summer with this stuff. And then once we get numbers, I'm putting this stuff in my head. When we get to March, February, I have this stuff. And I can say, okay, I know that Lowell, here's what I know they want to do. This is a tough matchup against some team in the NCAA tournament or in the NIT or wherever they are. So this is all mental notes. And this is all very important to laying down. It's almost like a criminal investigation, weirdly. You got to put the work in. You've got to pound the pavement. All this stuff will eventually come together, and it'll be something that you can use that will help you down the road. I don't mean to relate criminal investigations to gambling, but it is a science in a way. Okay, let's get into a big game here, and that is going to be a game involving the Memphis Tigers and the Alabama Crimson Tide. I want to talk about this one because it's kind of that marquee game, right? It's the two solid basketball teams playing each other, right? You have a lot of good teams playing bad teams, but this is kind of teams on similar levels. And when we look at this game, kind of seems high, doesn't it? Right? 7.5. Remember, this one opened 6.5. It was immediately bet up. So what does that mean? Sharp gamblers are coming in, bumping this one up, right? They're kind of looking at this and saying, Alabama, we're not worried about a letdown here. Remember, Alabama just beat Houston. Now, last season, in a similar spot, Memphis was a small dog in this game at home, and I played them, and they rolled 92-78. I bet them. I really like the spot for them. You look at this one, a year later, they're 7.5-point dogs. Now, I've made the case, I think this Memphis team is more durable, more long-lasting than last year's team. They had a lot of things off the court they were dealing with, some of their personnel. I think they're a better team. I think they're more constructive. I think they're more a team that I can build with Kendrick Davis and some of their wings. They don't turn the ball over as much. Defensively, they're very good. You also look at that game in last season. Alabama had 20 turnovers, right, in that game. I'm going to go ahead and guess that doesn't happen tonight. But I will say I was surprised by this total. It went from what I thought would be like 145, 146. It's all the way up into the 150s. So I guess people are kind of banking on a similar game to last season, 92-78. We had 170-ish points in that game. Blew it out of the water. It was up and down. Now, when I look at these individual offenses, we know what Alabama wants to do. As usual, Nate Oates wants to shoot a ton of threes. Now, the difference between this team this year and this team last year is they had that stupid game plan and they weren't making threes last year. That was one of the reasons they were struggling. This season, they're shooting the ball much better, but they haven't been great. They're shooting 35%. Alabama games are a lot like Penn State games or Virginia Tech games. If they are making threes, they will win, and they can win by 30. If they're not making threes, they can lose by 30. There's a lot of variance in their basketball games. Now, also, you remember the venue as well. Playing at Coleman Coliseum is a lot easier for, obviously, Alabama than going up to the FedEx Forum. Not an easy thing to do. You also had a lot of things working for you in that game, right? You had the turnovers, you had all that sort of thing. So, to me, I think it's a tough spot here if you're Memphis. I have some weird feelings some of the old problems are going to creep in here for Memphis. If I had to play this game, which I didn't, I would lean Alabama at this hour. I just kind of look at this one as maybe this game's close in the first half and Alabama finds a way to win, kind of like Arkansas did on Saturday, right? Where it was kind of close and then Alabama found a way to win, or Arkansas found a way to win by 10 or so. I think that's what Alabama does here. I think Alabama maybe this game is 35-34 at the half. Alabama makes some adjustments, start hitting some three balls. They kind of overpower some of the kids on the block for Memphis. Maybe some turnovers start to creep in, and they find a way to win this game, 78-68 or something like that. I guess you kind of have to ask yourself, do you see Alabama winning by double digits here? I see that happening more than I see Memphis winning. I think this game kind of screams to take Memphis, and I think Alabama I can kind of read through. That's a really hard place to go play. And I think, both these teams are coming off, really good wins. Auburn, was good for Memphis, but that was a neutral site. Now you got to go to another tough place. So for me, I kind of want to take Alabama here, but they're just so I'm banking on the fact that they're going to make threes. So I hate to be kind of vague on how I want to play this, but I would lean Bama here. I don't like Nate Oates, though. I've said that many times. Love the show. Hey, Jenna, how are you? Thank you for watching. I appreciate that. Thank you for coming in today. I don't think I've seen you here before. Welcome. Luciano Vastanza. I feel like you've been talking about Coppin State overs. Yeah, listen, that's something that works for you, bro. Keep at it. When you find stuff that works for you in college hoops, college football, stick with it. I'm going to talk about one in here in just a second that's worked for me. And you have to realize, Texas, I was kind of banging the drum on their first halves. I'm probably not going to get away from that. It's something that I'm just going to continue to bet. And I think over the course of a season, I will make money betting on it. Do you see Pitino ever going back to a big-time program? That's a great question. I hope he does. I think he's a great coach. He's, I believe, the only coach outside of, I think there are only two coaches that have won multiple national titles that are still coaching. So, yeah, I think he's definitely worthy, but he's made some egregious mistakes in his career. Aaron Elder, how you doing, bro? NC State -6.5. I didn't have much in that game. Kind of a herky-jerky game. NC State's been in some wild games this year. I don't have much on that one. Hammering Memphis money line tonight. Well, listen, man, I wish you good luck in that. One of us is going to be right here. Reagan Roberts, what's up? I agree. The GOAT says Rico owns you. I don't know about that because he's quit. He's ran with his tail between his legs, and we haven't heard from him in weeks. He is arguably the worst gambler in the history of the planet, and I think we all have, obviously, fact with that. He's been tracked, and he has been egregiously bad to the point of people laughed him off of leaving Barstool. He has completely walked away due to his inability to be good at his job. And now he will wither into anonymity with people that aren't talented either. So, again, I think it's time that you remember who you're speaking to here, because in the end, I know you think you can own me, but I will own you. That's just not true. I think you know it and I know it. This is an individual that hid in a closet when I went to Barstool headquarters. Think about that. So I think it's the other way around, pal. I never hid from nobody, and I would never hide from nobody. I might get beat. I might not look good, but I'm definitely going to stand up for myself. And all you people that want to talk shit, until you get in a ring and until you show that you can fight or something, shut the fuck up. Do you still think Arkansas can be a top 10 team without Trevon Brazile? Yes, because they have people like Ricky Council. They have people like Nick Smith. They have people like Jordan Walsh. They're a very talented team, and they only get stronger as the season goes on. Let's get into Houston. A lot of Houston questions here tonight. Houston is laying 31.5 against the North Carolina A&T Aggies out of the MEAC conference. A&T always is a decent team over the years, but we have to remember they are very much stepping up in class here tonight. Is Philip Shumpert's team. Philip Shumpert is a coach that is making his debut. He has a younger team here. He has a team that is not very talented and has a team that hasn't played in 2 weeks. Now, let's ask what you're asked to do here. You haven't played in 2 weeks. You're a young team to begin with, and now you have to go and play a team who doesn't lose very often and is going to be out for some blood tonight. That is among the best defensive teams in America. Not ideal, to say the least. When we're looking at A&T, this is a young group, as I've alluded to, and this is a very precarious situation. Houston, as I've talked about time and time again, really suffocates you defensively. And what they do generally is they suffocate you very early. They want to jump out 19-4. They want to jump out 32-12. That's what they do. They jump out. Now, I mentioned on this show, one thing that I have absolutely buried is this bet. Houston's first halves. I've been on it many times. North Florida, Norfolk State, other games. This has been a very good bet for me. And if you know me, you know I don't need to explain this to you. I will be on Houston tonight. If they are up by 15 at the half, salute, just like Texas. I don't look at this as a one-game thing. I'm not going to just jump off of it. The truth of the matter is against every subpar basketball team they played this year, they have absolutely pummeled them in the first half. And we look at that game against Kent State. They won the game 49-44. Really struggled in that one, but found a way to win. What they do in the next game, what did I tell you they'd do? 100-52. They were up 54-20 at the half. I told you they would do that, and they did it. Look against North Florida, did it there. This is a team that is suffocating. There's no secret that they are number one in America in first half points per game allowed. They only allow about 21 points a game in the first half. That is incredible stuff. Think about that. That is really impressive stuff. When you're playing some of the caliber of teams they played, they're just that good. And when you look at A&T, you really got to ask where the scoring comes from, because we know with Houston, they're so dynamic on the defensive end. They're really going to just kind of punish you. And another thing that really lends to why Houston does this sort of thing is teams like North Carolina A&T are not capable of guarding to the level of these kind of teams. They're going to give you, quite frankly, pretty easy opportunities. I mean, they're not going to put up much of a wall, right? They're not going to stop you in transition. You're just much bigger, stronger, more athletic, and more physical than they are. Throw in the fact that Houston's going to get every offensive rebound. It's rare Houston loses a rebound battle. And one thing they lost is the rebound battle on Saturday. That's why they lost the game. The method of Houston losing isn't often, and it's because they're so good at everything. This is a spot where, again, I'm not going to shade away from how I gamble. I know that these are the types of teams that get absolutely pummeled by teams like Houston. And as a team that's off a loss, you as a cultured team, this team is full of culture under Kelvin Sampson. I think they come out here and completely whip up North Carolina A&T. I think this game's like 45-19 at the half. 17, I'm fine with that number. I will play it. I don't think, I think playing the full game is probably a good bet as well. How many 89-48 games have we seen from Houston this year? A lot. I mean, they seemingly play those games every night. So I'm not too worried. This is a game where I will be on it. It's not gonna come away from me. It's always going to be what I'm betting here. Thank you, Mello. I appreciate that, brother. I'm all the way down to the bottom. Let me come back here. Let's go back here. I'm sorry, guys. Louis Bizzo says Houston first half total over 16.5. Okay, so let's figure. What do we think Houston gets here? Let's say they get 40. I think they get to 40 here. What is A&T at the most going to get? I think at the most they get is probably 25. I would lean that way, but I could see this being, 41-16 at the half or something, and you come up short. This is what's fascinating about college hoops, because it's really down to the point of where do you see A&T going and what do you see Houston doing? Houston could be out for blood and score 52 in the first half here. They've done it before. Like I said, put up 54 against Norfolk State, a team that is generally very good in the MEAC as well. These are two kind of similar teams, Norfolk and A&T. So the problem that A&T has is they're not as good as Norfolk is. So yeah, I'm going to play this every time. I'm going to play this game every time. All right. First half team total on Houston, best bet again, says Ryan Gupton. I like it. I think that's probably, if I'm looking at some sort of total in the first half, that's what I would probably go with. I think they're going to have a lot of success on offense in this game. Kevin Taylor, can't wait to see you on Pick'em tomorrow. I'm not on Pick'em tomorrow. I haven't been contacted about that. I don't know if you know something I don't. Ed Murph says Memphis money line's a hammer play. Good luck, man. Good luck. MD says, laugh my ass off, wither into anonymity. Great vocabulary. Thank you, bro. Thank you. No, that is untrue. That is untrue. I've never been arrested, unfortunately. Actually, not unfortunately, fortunately. No, I've not been arrested for that sort of thing. I have no interest in that. I want women that want to speak to me. I have no interest in voyeurism. Not my thing. Thoughts on Furman? Do they keep it within the number against NC State? As I said, I think that's a herky-jerky, helter-skelter game. I think both teams kind of get what they want. I'm not a big fan of either team. All right. James Valentine says, you don't cancel me, I cancel you. Dave Portnoy, Jeff Nadu. Oh, it sounds like a 2024 campaign. Let me get to a couple of other games and I'll get to your comments. This is an interesting game tonight. Wichita State and Mississippi Valley State University. Wichita laid 27.5, totals 127. This is another game where it's going to come down to where do you see these teams scoring? I don't think Mississippi Valley State gets to 50. I think their team totals 50.5. They're not good offensively. They're horrible. And Wichita is very good and wants to play very slow. I kind of had a vision of this game, and I kind of saw it at like 75-45. It's kind of where I put the game. There's a little wiggle room on the spread, but I think the problem that I have in this game is you're not going to have a ton of possessions, right? MVSU wants to play very slow too. They're going to just shoot a ton of threes. That's what they're going to try to do. They're going to hope they make them. And they've actually been okay at making threes. I don't think they're going to do it tonight because Wichita's really going to kind of extend their stuff, and it's just going to be hard for them to score. Keep in mind, they played Arkansas State recently, Mississippi Valley, and scored 38. Do you just go with the team total under and say if they get to 55, so be it? Keep in mind, in 10 games this year, they've only scored 55 or more, I think 60 or more twice. And one of them was like an up and down game in garbage time. So I think that's probably how you go with this game. There's just not going to be a lot of possessions here. Wichita is going to play really slow. Like I said, this game's like 75-45 to me. If they get to 52, 55, so be it. That's kind of how I'd look at it. But Mississippi Valley's bad. And Michael Barber, one of their better players, didn't play in their last game. He's one of their tallest players as well. So I think you have some issues if you're Mississippi Valley. This is one of the worst teams in America. I don't think they're the worst team in America. I think they're probably bottom 3. So this is a team Louisville would beat, Mississippi Valley, maybe. That's about it. But yeah, Wichita should have success. I think the only concern you have is both teams are going to play slow. But Wichita can probably get to 80 if they want to here. And I think that's your concern. So I feel like for me, I don't really worry about Wichita. I'll just take the fact that they play slow and are good defensively and just kind of pick on Mississippi Valley and assume they don't score. That's kind of how I think that we would go here. Now, it's an interesting question because in the first half, Mississippi Valley's team total is 22. Do we see them getting mid-20s here? That's a big question too. They could struggle to get to 40 here. They really could. They really could. If they go 6 for 30 tonight from 3, it's going to be a long night for Mississippi Valley. Long night. This game could be over in under 2 hours because of it's going to be a slow, sloggy game. A lot of quick, time's going to go quick, I feel like. All right. Final game. Just a game I wanted to talk about due to the fact that it's such a, I think, really bad mismatch. And I feel bad because I actually think A&M Corpus Christi in the Southland under Steve Lutz, I think they can actually compete this year in that conference. I think them and Nichols, I think, are the 2 best teams. The problem here is this game is a disaster for A&M TC because the way they play just isn't going to work. And I don't think generally when you have to play another way that you don't want to play, you're probably not good. It's not going to work for you. And you're not dealing with a middling top 25 team. You're dealing with, a top offensive team in America. They want to play as fast as humanly possible. So let me break down what Steve Lutz and Corpus want to do because they're not good on offense. Weren't good last year. Haven't had good success really in general. What they want to do under Lutz is they want to pressure, which is a bad idea against Arizona. They'll break that with ease. Now, when they get into the half court, they're going to sag off the 3-point line and give you the 3 ball. Another bad idea because teams like Arizona will fucking punish you. This kind of stuff does not work against teams like Arizona, okay? Let's throw in the fact as well for Corpus Christi, this is the second smallest team in all of America. There's only one team smaller than them. What do we know about Arizona? Tubelis, Bello. They have tons of big boys. You could essentially just throw the ball into them every play and they'll score. It's just a bad matchup for Corpus Christi. I don't think this defines who they are as a team. I think in long term, I think they'll be quite good. And I think they have the best uniform colors in America. But this is a horrific spot. It's a horrific matchup, and it's a horrific game. You look at the kind of one game that Corpus Christi played in step-up competition. It was the first game of the season. They lost by 19 to Mississippi State, 63-44. It's kind of a weird game. But you look at the game and what really happened. It was one bad half of basketball. In fact, it was one bad 10 minutes of basketball for Mississippi State in their first game. At the 10-minute mark, Mississippi State was down 20-8 in the game. They finished the game over a 55-24 run and won by 19. Now you got to go play a team that's significantly better in Arizona in Tucson. Keep in mind, Arizona has scored 95 or more 4 times. They've scored 100 or more 3 times. This is a NBA type of offense. And this is an offense that is playing a team that I'm not quite sure I could find a worse matchup against at every level. They can't press. They can't play in a half court. They're going to get destroyed at the rim with big boys. And Arizona is one of the better three-point shooting teams you'll find. And this is not a team that I'm real worried about that they don't get to 100. I think they get to 100 in this game. I just do. So I would lean on a team total, 95. I did it against Utah Tech. I'll do it here. Was it Utah Tech? I think it was Utah Tech. Yeah, it's Utah Tech. I think the team total was 89.5. I think they got to 95. I think they didn't score over the final 2 minutes either. Probably should have got to 100. So, the thing about Arizona, man, they can just hit you so many fucking ways, man. And they're just going to punish you. They play so fast, man. Remember, this is the number one offense according to Ken Pom in America. And they're gigantic. They're going to play deep into the game, these guys. They can shoot the rock, man. They're so good at every level. All right, let me go through a couple of your comments here, and then we'll start wrapping this up. So if you have any questions, Q&A, ask me whatever. It doesn't have to be basketball. Andrew, what's up, man? Thanks for watching, brother. Thank you, Casey. Ed Murph says, love Houston first half. Thanks, man. I got 17, but yeah, I think they're both okay. David DeCondick. Yeah, I actually agree. I think it's probably kind of similar to what you're saying there. I think it kind of found a way to win by double digits. Good call. Hey, Murph. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. UST has 2 players out, play Green Bay. You're talking about St. Thomas. Tell me what players are out, and I'll tell you if that actually matters. Because just because 2 players are out doesn't mean that they're going to lose. I mean, the 2 players could be, players that barely play. I do know Parker Bjorklund hasn't been playing for St. Thomas. That's not good. That's their best player. But yeah, I'm not really running to lay double digits with Green Bay either. They're not very good. I'm intrigued by Murray State over Chicago State. Doesn't seem like this is the same Racers team, though. No, it isn't. Matt McMahon's gone. But they should have success. Chicago State's not good. Santa Clara, Portland State. I like Santa Clara, but I was kind of I'm not really sure what that performance was over the weekend against San Jose. Santa Clara just doesn't defend, man. I mean, I think their offense is good. I would look towards like a team total here. I don't trust their offense at all or trust their defense at all. And Portland State is a team that likely will press you. That's kind of what they do. And they're going to get up in your grill, and they can be a high variance, weird game. But Jace Coburn wants to play very quick. They're going to turn you over, and that could work out for Santa Clara. I think it's probably a high scoring game. Neither team's very good on defense. Utah, yeah. Again, I'm never going to tell you to take probably the dog in this kind of spot. Utah ton of big kids that just can score. And we've seen that kind of in full force. Wichita State's going to zone Mississippi Valley, or just get up in their grill because they can't do anything well. When's your next haircut? This weekend. All right. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, legit. I don't know what you're on about there. Jeff is always balling. Thank you, brother. Do yourself a favor and fade this guy's picks. I'm 0-7 trusting this gnome's picks. Well, hey, good luck. Hopefully, you won money last night, bro. Keep at it. But look, I don't get, like I said, I don't care about a week of picks. You're gonna lose. It happens. Say sorry to Kirk Kriisa. Yes, he has. He has improved a lot this year. You're totally right about that. He has improved. And the good thing too, as well, about at least if there is a good thing. I only bet a half unit on these games, at least personally, and that's all I care about. These are my bets. This is what I bet. If you want to tail them or you pick and choose what you tail, that's on you. You're welcome to bet. You're welcome to fade. It really doesn't matter to me. I know I'm good at what I do, so I don't really care. But yeah, I'm only betting half units, so I'm able to keep, if I do have a bad start to the season, I can keep my unit amount loss low. So there is a bit of a small silver lining. All right. I don't know. How would I know? What's the point of having a draw option? Because that's how they work. That's why you have a lift the cup option as well. I don't know. Ask bookmakers that. I have no idea. Am I going out tonight? No. I don't go out usually turn the week. Yeah, watch yourself with Texas Tech. Haven't played real well lately, so to keep an eye on that one. I've already talked about Santa Clara. Yeah, the only one that I bet at a high level was Houston, which again, when we're talking about official plays, yeah, that's what I bet that one. If you need to know, I bet that one. Yes. And I took Arizona team total over small, but I don't usually give out just leans because they're not games that I'm just giving my opinion on these games. I'm trying to create a show here. But I played Houston first half. What's up, Hustle man? How you doing, bro? If you're asking about a game and I didn't hit it, I probably have already talked about it. You have to bet to advance in soccer tournaments. People always forget that. Yeah, as I've said, if you're going to be betting soccer or hockey or something, you need to understand what you're actually betting. If you're betting a sport you don't know how it works or whether you're getting paid or not, you shouldn't be betting it. And if you have to ask yourself, why did I lose a game because I thought I had them to win and they drew, I should have pushed, you should not be gambling on soccer if you don't know that. Beans Orelli's looking for fights. It's the internet. I couldn't care less. Have to bet to advance. Yeah, agreed. Do you like Arizona first half? Sure. I wouldn't have any issue with that one. How about the Eagles? Something special about this group, especially Jalen with skill positions. Yes, not a lot of flaws. Just sign a punter today, which we obviously needed. So Arizona over is the play. Yeah, I think. What if that game is 101-58 though? And I think that's what you could deal with there. Corpus Christi is not good on offense. They're just not. Yep, have no issue with that. No, I literally just said I'm on Houston first half. Listen. Got my house cleaned today. Always good when I get get my cleaning lady here. Always a big fan of that. I clean pretty frequently, but it's always important to get a good deep clean, at least at your house. There's one thing about men that I learned a long time ago from my mother. She would tell me this. When I was a kid, she would tell me, when you get your own house and you don't have a wife, get a cleaning lady because men can't clean. And she's right. Now, if you guys ever see my place, like I'm super clean. I don't have clutter. I dust every 2 days. I vacuum, I clean. I'm a really clean person personally. So, I don't get my bed if it's not made. I like lines in my carpet. Pretty weird. I'm eccentric. I'm gregarious. I like my house like my hair. Clean line. The big man is fresh. I always am. Nady are my idol. Well, I guess you could have worse idols. You can have way better idols. By the way, new episode of The Sit Down is out tomorrow. If you're interested in true crime, this is a show for you. I spoke with a very esteemed FBI agent about the very sad and depraved case of 4 Idaho students that were viciously murdered in their home. Is there leads on this case? Will we ever figure it out? And why is the fact that this has become so public? It's not good for the investigation. There are way too many people that think they know and they don't. Let the cops do their job. This is a great show, and the person we spoke to, I always try to get the most important people on that can talk about this sort of thing. All right. Big man is always feeling himself. I always listen. Life's too short to not, man. Fuck all the people that have some stupid shit to say. Thoughts on the Cowboys-Eagles Christmas game? Yes, I do. I think the Cowboys will win that game. It's hard to beat a team twice, So, yeah. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I hope you guys enjoy your day, the rest of your evening. And as always, we'll be back tomorrow with another episode of Big Men on Basketball. We're here every day at 4 o'clock Eastern. I'm trying to help you gamble better on college basketball. Hopefully you learn something, and hopefully you enjoy my information every day. We chat around, talk about other things, but I try to that we can teach you something. So yeah, be here tomorrow, same time, same place. All you people in the chat, if you're watching after the fact, do me a favor, hit that like button. And if you're new around here, make sure you subscribe. There's a lot of great content here on the Barstool Sportsbook YouTube channel. So make sure you're checking that out. As always, I will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Until next